So hello and welcome to Conversations with Esther tonight. We do session 3 on bargaining. The past few weeks, 2 weeks, we've done denial, we did anger, and now today we are doing bargaining. So allow me to pray to kick off this. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your goodness and mercy. We thank you for your faithfulness, Lord. As we kick off this session, we ask that you would lead us and guide us. Be with us, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. So welcome. Allow me to just put this up. So for those that have not been with us, I want to make an intro of Conversations with Esther and who we are. Welcome to our fireside chats. Our fireside chats happens every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. So karibuni sana. It's good to see you. I see we are already 36 in the room. Welcome. So Conversations with Esther, if I will just pull this out here. Conversations with Esther is an impact-driven professional platform that informs, educates, and rebuilds mindsets on matters work, organizational culture, and holistic wellness. Now, we ignite ethical and authentic leadership, promoting best practice within industries. Conversations with Esther equips the workplace with relevant legal, human resource, and holistic wellness skills through training, motivational talks, end-to-end HR consultancy, support, and mentorship programs. Now, guided by our 3 values: integrity, excellence, and impact, Conversations with Esther envisions a workplace transformed by professional conversations, respectable relationships, and intentional leadership. Now, we put a lot of focus on holistic wellness, and our focus mainly is the 7 pillars of wellness. Now, we speak to you and we train you on physical wellness. This coming Saturday, we are going to Ngong Hills. Make sure you join us. For your physical wellness, we also teach you and talk to you on your diet and what other practices you need to have. Mental wellness, we focus a lot as well on mental wellness, on your financial wellness, social wellness, spiritual wellness, in environmental wellness, and your intellectual wellness. And we remind you that self-care is not selfish. So check on your life, see what you are doing for yourself. As you take care of others, remember to take care of yourself. Great. Yesterday, an award landed on my desk, and I want to thank you for the support that you continue to give for this Women in Management Award 2025. That is the Women in Management Africa Awards 2025. WIMA stands for straight in Swahili. WIMA symbolizes a straightforward life for women. WIMA represents women who stand tall, women who have earned their power and leadership status with no shortcuts. WIMA represents women with vision and inspires the girl child to stand tall and work hard, as there are no shortcuts to achieving success. Once again, thank you for your support. We got this award because of promoting holistic wellness in the workplace. So asante sana. So this is our calendar of events, and we have done our March nature walk. We have gone through April, May, and June. 26th of July, which is this Saturday, we are going to Ngong Hills for our physical wellness, mental wellness. We will have art therapy. We will have physical fitness. We will have conversations with psychologists, and we will also enjoy ourselves as we bond. So don't be left behind. This coming Saturday, I know our admin will be joining if she's not already on the call, and she will give us updates on the Saturday event. We climbed the Gong Hills together. Now in August, we'll do Facing Our Fears, which we will give you more updates as we go on. September, we do movie and bowling. That is 27th of September. Mental health awareness event, 25th of October. And we end the year, God willing, 29th of November with a dinner and awards for wellness champions. So this is Gong Hills poster. Come with your hiking kit and light refreshment. Saturday, 26th of July from 8 a.m. we meet at the gate of Gong Hills. Now you have the option of coming on your own, and our admin will also give you the other options available, but don't miss this. So this is what we've been doing, 5-week group therapy program on coping with loss and grief. The journey of loss and grief is personal, can be emotionally draining and sometimes devastating. There is no right or wrong way to mourn the loss of a loved one, a job, or a much anticipated opportunity. We have been engaging seasoned psychologists to walk us through the process and equip us with the necessary skills to support others. Now, today we have Faith. She is a lead psychologist at Therapy Effect Consulting. Faith Thuo has 8 years of experience in the field of psychology. Ms. Faith is a lead consultant, psychologist at Therapy Effect Consulting. She consults for Chiromo Hospital and Tranquil Medical. She holds a BA in counseling psychology, MSc in psychology, and is a trainer of trainers. Faith has specialized in trauma, addictions, marriage, and family therapy. Beyond the therapy room, she is a sought-after mental health trainer, equipping corporates and communities with tools to foster resilience and emotional well-being. Faith is committed to empowering lasting change. Now, Faith is a very good friend of mine, I must admit, very good friend of mine. I have engaged Faith on several occasions, including our church and other forums, and I can say we have the right person in the room. Faith, karibu sana, the floor is yours. Today I know Faith is handling the bargaining stage. We have done the denial, the anger with Maureen, who did an amazing job. And we now have Faith to take us through this session. Karibu sana, Faith.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Esther, for this great opportunity and chance to be able to share with us. Hello, everyone. Welcome on board. Hi. Great to have you around. So my name, as you've heard, that was a great introduction. I'm Faith Thuo. And for those of us who are joining us for the first time, we are on stage 3 of grief. So first of all, I would want to say that my heart goes out to you. Whatever grief you are experiencing, as someone said, a loss of a teddy bear to a child is equally as significant as a loss of a crown to a king. So there's no small loss. A loss can only be impactful to the owner and only the wearer of the shoe knows where it really hurts. Yeah. So we are going straight to understanding this bargain stage. But as before we can get into it, a little bit about Therapy Effect. We are a mental health consultancy firm, and our goal, we are so deeply invested in the roots because we understand before anything else, foundations are critical. Where we build either our houses, our lives, whatever it is, matters greatly. So we are really big on investing on the root cause analysis and healing from the roots. So that's basically Therapy Effect. You will of course share more details about where you can get us towards the end. So I would request us to stick along at least for an hour or so. We'll be done, I promise. It won't be long. Now we've gone through the first stage, which is denial. And we've talked about anger last week. And today we are looking at bargain. But before we can even get into bargaining stage, I'm sure maybe some of us are here with the hope of, when will I get over this loss? When will I get over this mourning stage? This grieving stage is not ending. But I want to submit to us today that grief is not about it shrinking over time, but it's about our capacity to grow and expand to a level of accommodating the grief. So it still remains as painful. Yeah. Because again, if you would want it to shrink, then does that mean your love for that person or for that thing has shrunk over time? Not really. It just means that you have grown, you have expanded, you've increased your capacity to still accommodate the grief. So it's not something that is going away, but we're just growing around it. So I felt like it's very important for us to highlight that. And now our conversations today are geared around this great woman who talked about the stages of grief. And today our focus is on the third stage. So we've looked at this can't be happening, which is of course definitely very automatic response every time when we receive a news that is shocking, it's terrifying. Our minds want to lessen the impact of that reality. So the first response is to numb, shock. No, this is not true. And then as you process all that, there's anger, there's bargain, there's depression, there's acceptance. Now, there's no order in which these stages would occur or should occur. You might find that after denial, you went to depression or you went to bargain, or all of them are happening at the same time. So we are not saying that once I'm feeling depressed, then I know I'm almost close to the end. Not really, not necessarily. Yeah. So this is what we are talking about. It's not a linear process. It's more of a progressive thing. At one point you're here, at another point you're here. So it's not something straight that you can say, I'm done with anger. Next, next, let's go to bargain. Let's go. No, it's a whole roller coaster. So we just, of course, had to go through it step by step for purposes of understanding. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's very stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Okay. Now, bargain. As the name suggests, this is a stage that's very interesting, because you're trying to want to take control and to reverse time. The reason as to why in this stage we are trying to reverse is simply to feel in charge. You want to feel I have some level of control. So it's a desperate negotiation. It doesn't matter with who. It could be with life, it could be with yourself, it could be with God, it could be with fate, whatever it is. but majority of the times, it's filled with regrets. If only, what if I took them to this hospital and not this hospital? Yeah. If it's a loss of a relationship, you're thinking, what if I didn't respond in this way? I wish, it's almost like you want to take time back and get to that space and respond differently so that you can change the outcome. Yeah. Now, one great man said that the mind would rather feel guilty than helpless. Your mind is almost desiring, I don't want to be in a space where I feel like I have lost control. And that's natural for human beings. We want to feel in charge. You want to feel in charge of this. You want to feel in charge of this. So you'd rather convince your mind that, hey, take some level of responsibility and be guilt about it, than actually thinking about, hey, I'm helpless here. The situation really overtook me, and I just have to admit that it went as it did. Yeah. So it's our mind trying to get out of that state of helplessness and trying to bargain, okay, I think this would have been a better outcome. Now, I'm sure you're here and you perhaps have been through this stage. I don't know what your voice of bargain says today. Maybe we can engage on the chat box. Tell us, with that particular loss that you're going through, whether it's a job, is it that you feel like, if only I'd responded to my boss like this, if I had done this project or this email this way, things would have been different? Yeah. Are you feeling like, if you had said something else different, or if you had prayed harder, yeah, you're feeling like, I think I did not invest spiritually as I should for this person to be alive? What is your bargain? What is your mind trying to tell you that you should have done better or should not have done? Do we have anyone who has gone through or has experienced a voice of bargain in their process of trying to find meaning of this loss? But a part of you as that part, that says, if only. Okay, let's see. Lee says that, if I'd left the relationship sooner. I hear you, Liz. It wouldn't hurt as much. Thank you. That's a very common bargain. I wish I took them to a different hospital. Oh yeah. Recently I had one of my clients going through loss, and he felt like, if I think we took them to an hospital that was not really versed with that management of that particular illness. Yeah. Any other person? Let's keep engaging as we continue. So which of this has been your bargain? What is your personal bargain even now? Maybe some of us is still happening. Yeah. Someone says, if I had sent the email sooner, or didn't delegate, maybe I would still have my job. I hear you, Winnie. I have avoided bargaining completely in avoidance of pain it will cause. Oh, interesting. So is it that it comes? Do you have the thoughts? Does it hint at you that, hey, maybe? And then you're like, no, shut up, don't go that way. Okay. Yeah, it comes, but you try to block it. Okay. Being a first mom, I wish I could have stayed in hospital. Maybe my son. Mm. Yeah, Maureen, I hear you, get you. Thanks. What if the doctors were fast? The treatment plan, what if we changed hospitals? Oh, yeah. If only I took him to the hospital earlier, maybe he would be here with us. I get you. I lost my brother. He was expecting a baby. I called him and we had agreed that we will have a follow-up call. We got an accident. So I wish I had called him to stop him from leaving the house. I get you. I get you. That's your personal experience. Own it. Own it. Okay. If only I'd brought up my son myself, maybe he wedded. Lost that. Maybe he wedded, have turned out to be or he would have turned out to be a better person. I hear you. Yeah, if I was there to raise him. I get you. It has its place. Bargaining has its place, and this is the place. One, it puts us in that state of temporarily feeling relieved from the pain through imagined control. Think about those moments you have. If I was there, like for some moment, it's like there's a little bit of a euphoria if I was there, and then maybe you hit yourself and you're like, hi, am I dreaming? Oh, it's true. Okay, I didn't do that. Yeah. You realize, oh, it's actually the reality. So in that moment of bargaining, you're somehow feeling like I have some level of control. Number two is that it gives us time to adjust to the loss mentally. Remember, our brains, their natural response is to want to protect us through whichever means. So for some of us, it's denial. That can't have happened. That cannot be true. And so your mind, at that moment, it's not at a state where it wants to process. So it protects us. Some of us might stick to the bargaining because you're feeling like, I don't want to quickly accept that this thing has happened. So what if this happened? What if? And you realize sometimes it can be so baggy within yourself that you can't do any other thing except to think about the what ifs, the if onlys. Yeah. So it's our mind trying to make sense of this thing that is so unbearable. How could it happen? What if I did this? What if I called him and told him, please don't go? Yeah. Now, one of us has just mentioned, it also feels like a regret. And here is where we are. When the gain becomes self-blame. It's okay to allow yourself to play around with imaginations. That's fine. But then it's so possible that it can spiral you into guilt, shame, self-hatred. Yeah. If only I hadn't let them. If only I had called them. So in other words, you're taking responsibility for that very thing that has happened, for that accident, for that death, for that loss of a job, loss of a relationship. You are wholesomely saying that I am to blame. Guys, I didn't call him to stop him. But think about it this way. If it was all in your control, if you knew very well, if this person travels now, they will be in an accident. Don't you think you would do whatever you can possibly to stop them from doing that? Yeah. If you are certain, like I'm sure if I take them to India, I'm certain they will be alive by now and they will get the right treatment. Don't you think you would try to do whatever it means to save their lives? So the fact that you're thinking about it in the past, then it means perhaps at that moment you did not have an awareness of what is to come. Yeah. So we are saying that you keep replaying the scenario. You are obsessively replaying the conversation. You're hoping that she can somehow be fixed. You are playing around with you calling the person. You're playing around with the thought of, that email. By the way, if I'm to go back in time, I would write it in this way. I would engage with it in this way. I want to give us a task, because there's what we call shadow work in therapy. And you realize that is where the main work is at. It's not your conversation with your therapist is important. It helps to bring things to perspective and gain some level of clarity. But the main work that you do on your own is extremely critical in healing. Now, we've already talked about the bargains that we've made. And who are we making them with? Do we have anyone who was bargaining with God? Like, God, I wish you took me, not him, but not at this time. Yeah. Or why would I lose a job at such a critical moment in my life when I so dearly needed it? Maybe you've just separated, you're raising your children on your own, and now you lose your job. You're like, see, this job would have disappeared 3 months or 1 year ago when I still had some cushion or some cover. I don't know, how has it affected your relationship with God? How do you feel about yourself? Yeah. What are you hoping to gain or undo if you're to go back in time? Now, this is the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you carrying any blame that doesn't belong to you? Yes, if you knew, you would have acted otherwise. But now that you didn't have the whole picture, do you still carry on that responsibility? That yes, that loss I went through, that pain, or that whatever it is, I am responsible. How could I lose my son in years that was the best year of my life? Your question to God. I get you. You'd bargain it when you lost your mom because you felt your world had come to an end, but you had no other choice but to accept. Thank you for sharing. Someone asks, what about those moments that the mind tells you that maybe he's gone on a safari, you'll be back? To an extent of your dreaming with him, having come back, and you ask him on the dream where he has been, that people lied, he died. I get you. There's something we call mummification, which is it's what hinders us from moving from the stage on denial. Denial is not coming to terms or accepting the reality. Yeah. You will find that sometimes people would mummify some things. Maybe now with you who is talking about maybe he's gone on a safari and you probably have kept his things very well. You have in mind that, yeah, he's coming back. I want him to find his clothes very well set. Sometimes maybe for I had someone talk about losing their child in the hospital. Some people will just keep the bed, that baby bed, and panga it very well. Once he's back, he will sleep here. That's mummification. Well, it's again your mind trying to not accept. So you need to be able to work with someone to help you process the loss and get to that level of acceptance. There are a few things that would hinder our ability to accept. Number one, it could be our religious beliefs. Yeah. The belief that he's just slept, he's coming back. Other times it could go overboard to actual delusions. Delusion, now when someone is starting to be delusional, we are saying that it's now affected their mind and they could be having a mental health condition. Because what are delusions? Delusions are false beliefs. You are so convinced within your heart that apana, this person went for a safari. I am so certain. So even when challenged with, some of the realities, like, hey, we buried him, here he is, hey, this and this, hey, like there's that strong conviction within yourself that no, then maybe you need further help to be able to process and understand and get to that level of acceptance. It's not easy. There are some people who stay in denial for 3 years, others is just a day, others is 15. You find that this person still has their phone number, they have saved the person, they will call them, they will make plans, arrangement with them. Tunaenda Mombasa, okay. We will, you still have them in your head even as you make plannings. Of course, there's the usual forgetting of, as you list your to-do activities or people you're going with, you include, then you remember, he's not here. That's okay. But there are those who will be very convinced that no, this person is still around. Yeah. So when you're stuck at denial, it's very even difficult to get to a bargain stage, because in the first place, the loss hasn't happened. So for you, there's nothing like going back in time to do anything, because nothing needs to be done. This person is here with us, or this job is still here with me. I wake up, dress up, go to work as nothing happened. And the soldier is like, see, ulifutwa kazi. But you still want to be there. Now look at this image, and we are seeing some things. The mind is playing trick on us. I don't know how many of us, this is not an advertisement, but those of us who have visited Museum of Illusion somewhere in Westlands, you can attest to like the many illusions that are displayed, and how illusion is, it's something that is not real. So as you see this, maybe you're seeing a hollow. There are those of us who can just see it's like a pipe, it's a hollow shape and going all the way. To others, it's moving around. Yeah. But if you're told this is just an image that is stagnant, there's actually no hollow and all that, the mind, how it has perceived it, is that this is a hollow. And that's what happens with bargain, the illusion of control. What we are saying is that your bargain is a survival response to chaos. You're thinking that I can influence what has already happened. I have some level of control. I have some level of power to change things. Now, we have agreed that there's nothing wrong with bargaining, but there's a risk of it becoming your personal responsibility and living all your life blaming yourself for that loss. Because let's be real for a minute. There are many factors that would determine loss. Even loss of that job, there's a factor of how maybe the hiring team, let's say it's your boss, they woke up with their feelings, they needed to project it on someone, you are their easy target, and they release it on you. So it's not pointing to anything you did, or even if you did a mistake, it's not to the magnitude of it deserves this consequence. So there are a number of factors. If it's death, in as much as I didn't take them to a better hospital, let's sit and look at, okay, how was their prognosis? How are they, recovering from this illness? Was it a terminal illness? Was it something that the doctor perhaps had hinted that, hey, Here we are just trying to manage pain. It's more of palliative care. Yeah. Were there other factors? Are you deciding to take the all responsibility and ignoring other factors that could have led to this loss? If it's a relationship, there are those of us who've been groomed, or rather we've been conditioned to constantly blame ourselves for what is happening around us. For example, if you grew up in a family that maybe there was divorce and your mom kept hinting that you're the reason as to why they are separated, or you're the reason as to why they are going through this pain, or you're the reason as to why, what happens? Your mind gets conditioned to that I am always, almost always responsible for the bad things that happen in my life. So your constant response is not to look at what are other factors that could have played a role. I might have played 30%. Who is responsible for 70%? In such a situation, you're not conditioned to think about what are the other factors that are responsible. All you're conditioned to think is that I am 100% responsible. I wish I would have responded like this. I wish I would have done this and this. So right now, I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to release today? Even if it's very little. Because the goal of letting go of bargain, it's by the way not to forget or to accept injustice. If there's a role you played, we are not saying don't take responsibility, but then ask yourself, am I taking responsibility for things I'm not responsible for? So it's about releasing that false responsibility. It's about honoring what happened, not what could have happened. Because we are talking about it in the past. Yeah. One thing, if we get stuck on the bargain, is that we won't be open to learning the lessons. Okay. So what next? All right. But if I'm stuck at I take responsibility, guilt. Guilt is one emotion that it's very interesting. It has both good and bad sides. It's good that it can convict one to change, but it's also bad that it can cause you to wallow in that pain such that it hinders self-forgiveness, it hinders ability to get out of that dark situation, that murky waters, and you feel like I'm guilt, I don't deserve grace, I don't, and you realize that you're sinking deeper. So once again, please, if possible, if you can take a screenshot, if you can take a photo, I want us to work more on that shadow work. Take your time and ask yourself, what would you say to your past self in that moment of bargain? Is it a mistake you really did knowing? Were you intentional about not calling your brother to not go? Is it something that you decided in your mind, I know they will have an accident, I won't call them? No. So allow yourself to be gracious to you and have that moment of self-compassion. Like, I honestly did the best I could. Yeah. Now think about if that very loved one could resurrect, if it's an issue of loss through death. What do you think they would say about what you've been guilt about? Yeah. Do you think they'd be like, yeah, you actually did not do this and this? Or would they appreciate that you made effort? You made effort to take them to the hospital. You made effort for that. What would they say? So what bargains are you ready to stop making? as we reflect this, as we release the false responsibility, however small it is, can you get yourself to saying that I, for once, I want to release myself. I want to relieve myself of feeling responsible for this because I have analyzed the situation, and based on my best decision and frame of mind at the moment, I did what was best. Yeah. Now we want to work from coming from what ifs to what now. Because the what ifs, the sad part about bargaining is that it keeps us in a state of yearning and never healing. You're just wishing, I wish I went back in time. But the truth is, we won't go back in time. That's the sad reality. That's the sad reality. We won't go back in time. So that frustrated expectation of I wish, it will keep us stuck. So we can redirect that to what now? What are the lessons I'm picking from this? Yeah. Do I need to reevaluate anything in my life? For example, if the regret is that I wish I had spent more time with them, now instead of wallowing in that, do I have other people in my life that I so dearly love? And I'm like, I do not want at any second to make this mistake I did with this loved one who passed away. So I'm going to be intentional about creating time with my loved ones. Yeah. Is there any reevaluation of your values, of your beliefs? Is it creating memories, yeah, of what you shared at that moment? Instead of just looking at the whole picture and seeing that one thing that didn't work right, are there other things that you can actually celebrate? Yeah. Could it be just that I went through this to help others who are going through the same? So coming from what if to what now, there are a number of things that we need to be able to do. And one of the key things is to affirm yourself. Remember, these are struggles you deal with silently at the wee hours of the night when everyone is asleep. You're like, okay, what if I did this and this? What if I responded to this and this in this manner? So imagine you have no other person outside of you to keep telling you that, hey girl, you did the best you could. Yeah. No one else is there. So you have to show up for yourself. Remember, you just have yourself. Because yes, we might be there to mourn with you at that moment. To be like, oh, okay, we'll support you through the first week. But after that, people disappear. People are nowhere to be found. And now you're left with the questions within yourself. So it's only gracious for you to create a healthy environment for yourself to be compassionate. Ask yourself, what is the benefit? What is the gain that I get after I have beaten myself up with this guilt? How does it help me? What if I turn that to being compassionate and being like, I didn't know what to do at that moment. I did the best I could. I want to be better. I can do better by doing this and this, moving forward. Yeah. So as you're saying, we have to keep affirming ourselves every single day, every single day. Sometimes thoughts, and we say that thoughts are not facts. You can wake up feeling like I am completely to be blamed for this. But before you can sit in with that thought and accept it as the truth, please analyze it. Please sit there and weigh it on a scale. And before you can take that thought as the gospel truth, think through it. What What is the evidence that is proven to me that this thought is actually true, that I'm to blame? Yeah. If I got a call and I was told this and this would happen and I ignored, well and good. Maybe there I would have a level to play for the blame. Or if I had this information, but at this moment, with all the facts that were at the table, am I really responsible? So we have to learn to sit in with our thoughts and judge them, weigh them, examine them, get to, before you can admit to that thought as a truth, analyze it. Does it hold water? Is there evidence for, or is there evidence against it? Yeah. So again, tell yourself, I'm learning to release what was never mine to control. If it's not within your levels of control, there's not much you can do about it. Is it a question of God? Is it a question of the devil? That is an existential question, very critical, and it's quite tricky to understand whose will was this for things to go as they did. But then what is within your control is what yourself did and what you can do moving forward. Yeah. Again, tell yourself, I don't need to carry the weight of every what if. No. So it's fine to be able to, once in a while, as someone mentioned, if you realize that this what if is it doesn't have grounds, then dismiss it. Do not allow it to fester within yourself. Okay, so you can find as many healing affirmations as possible just to reassure you, because you only have you to comfort, no other person. As we near the end, again, I've talked about shadow work. So sit down and reflect. Think about the conversations you would have with that person. Is it closure that you want to have? Then write them letters. This is what I miss about you. If you want to question them why they left or why you had to get that loss at that particular moment in your life, it's a job, a relationship, and how much you had invested in it, talk about all that. If there's any unfinished business, there's a conversation that you had promised to have and didn't happen, talk about it in that letter. Respond to yourself as if they are the ones talking to you. So what would they say? Just imagine, because you've related with them or you've stayed with them, you know how they would respond. Have that conversation to have a closure. Sometimes we use what we call empty chair technique in therapy. Yeah. It's difficult, yes, but sometimes it's just helping to declutter our minds, because thoughts can be all over the place and you just want to put things into perspective. Talk openly. Engage in rituals of remembrance. There are people who are like, now should I pull down all the photos that I have? Do I ban everything that reminds me of them? The only way we can know if we have healed from a loss is if we are able to still find reminders of the thing that we lost, and we can just look at it and smile, or look at it and not have hard feelings within ourselves. That's the point you will know that anyway, I have healed. But if you look at it and you're full of bitterness, you're full of rage and anger, when you see that man, that lady that you divorced with, and all you can do is to click and be like, I don't want to see them, then that means you've not healed. Please engage as much, regardless of how difficult the emotions and feelings cause you to have. When you see them, when you see something that reminds you of them, have those moments. If it's memorials, if it's whatever it is, then you realize as time goes by, your capacity to accommodate the grief keeps increasing. Talk about them. Like, how was your relationship with them? I lost my dad when I was really young, 11 days. And so, of course, I didn't manage to experience him. But I can say I've experienced him through my mother. My mother always, every time I'm home, or we are talking, oh, if your dad was here or used to do like this, he would be the one to buy you guys clothes. He would, and I find that to be very therapeutic for her because she's able now to have memories of her loved one with a lot of missing and per se not like pain or anger or anything, but yeah. So when you are in that point where you can talk about that thing, that job, that ex partner, and you can laugh about it, then that's when we know that healing has happened. Yeah. So remember, this pain is not your punishment. We are not trying to cause you to be in pain for what you did. No, no, no. Some things are completely out of our control. It's just the turn of nature. This is what happened, and I really had nothing to do about it. Yeah. So as we conclude, we are saying that grief is not a sign of weakness nor a lack of faith. If you're here and you're a believer and you're thinking, well, hey, the thoughts that I have about God, only me who can, they can only go as far as in my thoughts, or thoughts you have about someone or something. Yeah. It's not a show of lack of faith, or it's not a sign of weakness. It is actually the price of love. That investment you did, it shows that it was so much impactful. It was so much powerful to you that, I mean, you can't imagine how would I lose that? Yeah. So it's the cost of love. It's the cost of love. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to grieve. Yeah. So as we come to a close, I have several resources on my website. You can just check them out at Therapy Effect. Yeah, to help you navigate different seasons of your life and areas, boundaries. You have teenagers, conflict resolution, all that. This is the number on which you can reach out to me. The one on the call, 0742 162 142. So we'll be able to, in case you need further help, do not walk alone. It is important that you're able to engage with someone to help you process. Because as we said, loss can be heavy and it can be difficult to maneuver. So I want to take questions even as we near the end. Let's see. How can God take us first, baby? Where do people go after they die? These are some of the questions that actually will remain unanswered, some of them, because they only lie within the supernatural. It's beyond human understanding to fathom some thoughts, like why would it happen this way? So I hear you. Those questions are valid. Please don't feel like I don't need to ask. Sometimes it's not like you will get the answers to them, but it's important that you allow yourself to, process what is going on through you. I mean, inside of you. Okay, is there a possibility of meeting them someday? I wouldn't want to, maybe Esther, when you come in, you can, if you don't mind, the spiritual aspect of eternity. When you get to heaven or to wherever in the next life, will you be able to meet your partner? I might not have a very confident answer on this, since I might not have the whole scope of what might happen then. Yeah. But I hear you. Is death God's work or Satan's work? Mhm. Is it the will of God? Is it the will of the evil one? Are there human contributions to it? For example, when you think about maybe an accident happening because of someone who was driving recklessly and their deaths. So is it God? Is it Satan? It's okay to ask all these questions within yourself. As I'm saying, some of this you might not get an outright answer that, yeah, this is God's desire. But one thing is certain, that this is the path for every one of us. If at all Christ will not be back, we will all go through the same route, maybe not through the same process, maybe not through a sickness or an accident or whatever, but it's meant for all of us to walk through that journey. And so some of these questions we can reserve them to God when we get there, and maybe He can help us understand what was His intention. Yeah. What if I feel I could have done better and can't let go of that feeling? Please analyze that feeling. As we've said, feelings are not facts. Your thoughts are not facts. You need to sit in and help your mind produce evidence that actually I am responsible. Yeah. So play that devil's advocate within yourself. There's person A here and there's person B here. You claim that I am responsible. Can you show proof that I am actually responsible? What did I do? What did I say? And are there other, if someone else was in my shoe, would they have done differently? Like, explore all those questions to help yourself put your thoughts to balance, so that you don't end up justifying a feeling just because it came and it happened. Yeah. Yes. Also forgiving yourself for what you think you did. Yeah. I hear you. Thank you. This is very important. Forgive yourself. So we've talked about that prompt that starts with, I forgive myself for whatever it is that you did. Sometimes it could be something you are actually responsible, but think about it in this way. How will it benefit you to keep holding a gun on your head for something that you probably would have done, but you didn't do? How will it profit you? How will it help you? Change can only come from a point of compassion, not criticism. Think about someone who is pushing you and criticizing you and making you feel so horrible about yourself. And they're making you think like you're the most terrible person in this world. And they're telling you to change an habit. Would you be so easy to be like, okay, Sawa, I feel so criticized, now I have to change? In most cases, you'll realize these are the persons that you'll be like, even if I was contemplating change, I can't change with you having this attitude on me. Why? Because as human beings, it's nature that if we feel attacked, we will want to defend. If someone throws something on you, the first thing you want to protect yourself. So think about it as you're having an internal battle with yourself, and you're here trying to punch yourself up. you did this, definitely your internal self will be like, hey, no, I'm protecting, or all that. Or sometimes you can respond by appeasing to it and saying, okay, yeah, I did that. Sawa basi, I'm to blame. But then what happens after that? You wallow in that, and it causes now the next stage, which is depression, to be even deeper and worse. So give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. There's no sin that cannot be forgiven if you feel like truly I was responsible. There's no pain, there's no sin, there's no error that can't be forgiven. In any case, and how I think it's Spurgeon or C.S. Lewis, he mentioned that pride is the greatest sin. And if you feel like I cannot be forgiven, then what you're saying is that the work of Christ on the cross was null and void. Like, hey, you, Christ, you died for everyone? No, my sin is so important. It's so big. It's so huge. It's so, like, it outweighs the cost that you had to pay, which is not true. That's pride. So admitting to and willing to be forgiven, it's actually a sign of surrender, that I just give myself up. I know that I might not be deserving, but I know there's forgiveness, and it does exist, and I deserve it even when I don't feel like I do. Okay, please walk with someone. All right, someone else talks about empty chair technique. This is, well, it would be very important if someone guides you through it. It's not an easy technique, but ideally it's whereby you're talking to that person that you have unresolved issues with. Sometimes not even a dead person, it could be a live person, but you can't bring yourself face to face with them, or you feel like, if I do, I'm so full of emotions, it might end up really badly. So you can debrief it before the actual appearance, and be like, let's imagine you're here, you're seated here now. Peel out every whatever it is that you have in your head. Those two silent conversations you have with yourself. Assume that he's seated there and let them listen to what you're saying, and then you can respond as them on the other end. But it's extremely important that you have someone guiding you through it. If baby was born yesterday, is he seeing whatever is going on? Uh-huh. Is this a response to someone? Not very sure. Maybe you can clarify that. How do you deal with friends and family who think you are a bad person for choosing to walk out of the relationship when the other party was the one that fumbled? Some try to get us back together. Others simply see nothing wrong with what they did. How do you deal with family and friends? You set boundaries. Yeah. You see, it depends, like, where they get in that feeling that the other person was right, or they're feeling bad that you chose to walk out. What what proof do they have? Again, in your personal, if for you feel like, I did the best I could, we've tried to repair this thing, this person is not willing to take responsibility, they're not willing to change, it doesn't call for you explaining to other people for them to understand where you had the state you were put in, or where you had reached with this particular person. That's not their responsibility. So you don't owe anyone explanation. So if they keep bringing it up and they feel like you're the bad one, set boundaries around that. Say that this was a relationship between me and so and so. I don't appreciate it that we have to talk about it. Please, can we not go to those details, right? If they insist, then set a consequence to it. You can hang up the call. You can, end the meeting or leave, whatever. But ensure that you will not allow someone to guilt trip you, especially if you've really analyze things and you're convinced within yourself that this relationship is extremely unhealthy for me, I need out. You don't need to explain that to other people. And their opinions are valid to themselves. They are entitled to their opinions. We talk about engaging more of non-defensive communication than being on the defensive mode. When you're defensive, you allow the other person and you give them power to keep looping you in an endless, that loop of back and forth. No, I didn't mean that. No, you said this and I said, is it worth that much energy? Is it something, especially when you've explained to them and they can't see your point of view? You don't need to. So just give them a non-defensive statement. That's okay. You see it that way. You are entitled to your opinion. So when you tell someone you're entitled to their opinion, you literally nip that conversation at the bud. You're literally saying that, hey, I have no time to talk about this. Like it's not a topic I want to invest my energies on. Yeah. How do you deal with the anger after your loved one has been killed by someone she loved? Oh dear. We talked about anger last time. Maybe you can catch up on that recording, but anger is a very, when we say anger is a secondary emotion. Sometimes beneath the anger is maybe loneliness, is maybe hatred, it's all these, a myriad of things. But yeah, truly anger is valid. Now you need to find a healthy way of expressing, because we say all emotions are valid. We are not saying invalidate how you feel. That anger is valid. You're allowed to feel it. The next question is, how do I respond to it? So find healthy ways of releasing or venting or letting out your anger. Be it screaming, do you need to punch something to feel like you're hitting them up? Because of course you don't want to do something that will put you into legal issues, until you go and shoot that person because you're angry. Well, it's not allowed. So just finding a healthy way of letting out. Please find someone you can work with. Okay, can one skip depreciation part? What can I do to get to that phase? Depreciation, like the law side. Now we say that the only way out is through when it comes to grief. The only way out is through. It's so unfortunate, but there's no shortcut to it. We have to go through the process. There's no way I will skip and be like, I'm lifted. And in most cases, because we have what we call complicated, there are different types of griefs. There are people who will experience complicated grief. Why? Because maybe it was delayed. Yani, your mind just went to serious numbing, suppressing. I don't want to feel. No, that didn't happen. And it takes you like 3-4 years before you can accept. By the time you're having to process that loss, it might be complicated. So the earlier, the better. The earlier you allow yourself to feel it and to go through it, the better. You want to really avoid delayed grief or complicated grief, because again, it can come out through other very ugly ways. You might find yourself having changed to be a controlling person or someone with anger outbursts, and only to realize your anger outbursts are actually because of a grief that you did not deal with. So there's no shortcut about it. That's the sad part, that the only way to get out is through. Okay, so I think done with the questions, unless there's any other that I didn't see. Yeah, I came back from working outside, but he then was gone. What about those moments that the mind tells you that maybe he has gone, oh, that we had handled? Okay. All right. So is it really one's choice to have delayed grief? Well, it's not always that you can choose to delay, but sometimes your brain can numb you to not experience it. So it's not out of your heart's desire. It's not your desire, but it's your mind's response. So what do you do in such scenarios? If you've lost a loved one or you've lost something that you feel like this is really critical for me, but I have zero feelings about it, I have zero reactions around it, then engage someone and say, by the way, I'm coming here, I'm smiling, I look really to be doing okay, but I have gone through this loss. I don't know how to feel. As you go through the process, you will realize maybe there are deeper parts of you that you didn't want to connect with. And then in that space, you're able to get in touch with those parts of the loss. So even when you realize that I'm not processing as I thought I should, you can engage someone. You don't have to be now all in a deep cry and having all these deep emotions to say, okay, let me seek for help. If you feel like, yeah, I think this is a terrible situation, but I'm just having a very flat face and I'm running business as normal, then get help. How do you deal with a situation where you are so used to keeping it strong all the time, and now with loss, you feel yourself slowly crashing, but you're so used to putting up strong face, so you can't show it. Yeah, strong people, hyper independent people in the room. Hi. When you've created an impression of I am the strong person, or people around you know that you are the strong person, it's very risky. You are at a risk. It's a risk factor when you go through loss for you to have complications in the future than someone else who is naturally a weak person. Like tunajua huyo, they will break and all that. So what do you do? One, in as much as you're appearing strong, please find a place for vulnerability. Find a place where you can express yourself without the need to want to feel I'm guarded, I should not cry. Yeah. And I don't know what situation has caused you to keep up this strong face, because by all means, it's in as much as it serves you or it serves the environment, it's not a healthy space to be in. It's important that you're able to share your vulnerabilities, because ideally what that would mean, then it means that you naturally, one, would not seek for help or say, hey, I need help, please come through for me. You have been wired to be hyper independent, like vulnerability, no, that's not me. And that sign of I am independent and all that, yes, it could be important, but it's something you want to explore and heal, because sometimes it's a trauma response. Yeah. But even in loss, if you feel like I need to be there, there are times you're like, I need to be strong for my children, I need to be strong. Please, okay, be strong for them, but then get somewhere where you can be vulnerable, get somewhere where you can seek help. Yeah, where you can express yourself. And again, we are human beings. You teach people by what you model. Yeah. So if I'm constantly presenting a very strong face to my children, how will I show them that it's okay to be vulnerable? So it's fine sometimes to sit around the table and start the conversation, knowing that very well it will trigger you. You start crying and you cry the whole family. It's okay. It's very fine, by the way. It doesn't make you lesser of a mother or less of a father. It just makes you human and makes you relatable. So it's very important that even for those people you think I need to be strong for them, it's important that one, of course, not emotionally dumping on them, but showing vulnerability is necessary. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I wish you grace and healing. Let's meet in our next to look at the remaining stages. Thank you. I want to hand it back to Esther. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you, everyone. We've shared our link, number one, for the YouTube, so that you can watch this session and the previous sessions and the ones that are coming. Number two, we've also shared we have a wellness community. I've seen people asking how do we get information on what happens around conversations with Esther. We've shared our WhatsApp link there. Feel free to join our wellness community and let's grow together. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. It shall be well. It shall be well. Thank you, Faith. Faith will be back next week to handle the depression stage, and she'll still be the same person handling the acceptance. Thank you, Faith, for your time and for investing in us. Asanteni sana. Good night and God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night. God bless.